Hey everybody, it's John here. It's March 23rd, 2021, and I cover cryptocurrency, Dogecoin specifically. I cover Dogecoin news and a Dogecoin technical analysis. And in this video here, I will be covering the Dogecoin technical analysis, okay? Before we get to all that, do me a huge favor and tap the subscribe button and tap the like button, okay? It helps me get these videos out to people who have not been exposed to Dogecoin, and it helps us, gather more Dogecoin investors and more Dogecoin traction. All right. So you came for a Dogecoin sticks. Let's get to it. All right. So as always, I like to stick with the Dogecoin Daily for the most part, and so for the daily, you can see yesterday that it bounced off. Let me see. It bounced off about 5.27. And I did mention the other day that the support was around like 525. So I said in previous videos that it'll kind of bounce off there. Of course, the bounce is, well, that's subjective, right? To see how far it goes. But for the most part, that was once a resistance. Now it's a support, right? And that's kind of why it bounced off that price right. And you can see it through the wick here for the most part. The wick, you see this wick right here? This is how you can see it, or how you can notice that it bounced off it for the most part. So we can see that Dogecoin is kind of coming down for the most part. It was at what, 5.8 yesterday. Now it's 5.5, but the low was about 5.27. That being said, there, yes, Dogecoin is kind of trending down towards down here. So I'm gonna readjust this descending triangle to more of a downward channel now. This kind of what it looks like more now, a downward channel. So if this continues, we're gonna see it go lower for the most part. I mean, how low we're gonna go, that's to be said, to be seen and said, I guess, for the most part. That being said, there is that I would buy around 525 again, and given that it broke through the 50 MA fairly quickly, I would say, in my opinion too, and with some, well, the volume isn't very high. You see, yesterday was about 82, today's about 45 currently, and it's 71. The breakage in volume, the breakdown in volume wasn't very high, so it's like, okay, it broke down, but again, the volume isn't high, so it's not, so when the volume isn't high, it's how do you say it? It's hard to really take it seriously. I mean, yeah, it's still a lot, but the usual is around like 120 to 150, right? So that's kind of around, maybe almost half or 60% of the previous volume here. So we're seeing slower exchange here, but I would assume that it would change in the future once we list on Coinbase here, because then you have a new flurry of investors though. But of course, with a new flurry of investors, you will have new shorters, new bears, you have new bulls, new longs. So it just depends on who has more money to kind of push up or down here for the most part. So so that being said here, we can see the 50 MA right here. It's about let me see what it says here. Oh, hard to see. The 50 MA is about 563. So, and you can see that today's daily chart here, it literally tapped 563 and it bounced off it. So you can see the 563 became the 50 MA looks like it's becoming a resistance now for the most part. So I would say that if I was a bear, I would short around 563 then. Is this going to be the case right here? And given the fact that I see this becoming more bearish and bullish now, is for a few reasons here. One reason is because the MACD is starting to trend down and the velocity is increasing. It's been confirmed over about 6 or 7 sticks already, even though it's kind of slow, but now it's kind of accelerating now. So it's kind of like the calm before the storm. Everyone's kind of waiting, and now you're seeing the first breakdown here. So I can see it being more bearish and bullish in the short term here. Overall, long term is still very bullish though. Of course, in the short term, the daily needs to reset as well. And how far this can go, it could go as low as a once or as high as a once, right? That is a really good answer. But you see the MACD here. Last time I went to about let's see, about let me see, about 0.0032. So we have a ways to go. I mean, assuming it does that again, and we are seeing a divergence on the MACD as well between the blue line and between the blue line and red line here, as you can see. So when you see a divergence like that, that's when you start seeing a breakdown. So this trend here is going to stay for the days to come here. And I did note on the previous videos that the 4-hour chart is looking more bearish as well. And usually a 4-hour chart, it takes about a week or two to kind of reset, so it doesn't happen overnight. So this bearish trend here is going to be here for days to come, It's not going to just end in a day or two. But in the meantime, I just mean these are going to be great buying opportunities for the most part. I probably wouldn't buy today, just given the way it is. I'll probably wait a little bit. Personally speaking, the volume is very low, and of course, long term we're still bullish because the 50 is still over the 200 here. But if this trend continues here, we may see the 50 tap the 200, but that could take weeks to months before it happens, right? Because the 50 MA and 200 MA moves very slowly. So obviously this trend can last for some time. So it's going to be as I always tell you, ladies and gentlemen, there's a long game here, okay? And I got some comments from people saying, hey, Dogecoin is falling off the cliff. Why are you so bullish about it? Because there are many perspectives here, right? Yeah, short term, it's looking more bearish now, right? But of course, when everything pops up, it needs to pull back down as well. And anything that, and whenever it comes down enough, people are going to see enough discount, they're going to start buying it up as well. So with that being said, with some folks who didn't buy all in yet, who did not, or who are sitting on the sidelines because they didn't get opportunity to buy, I truly believe the opportunity is coming sooner rather than later here. So it'll be interesting to see. So let's go to the 4-hour chart now and see what that looks like. Okay. Alrighty then. So let's see. Where is it at? Okay. All right. So you can see the 4-hour chart. Yes, we are seeing the 50 over 200. It looks bullish in that sense right there. But at the same token, you're seeing also the 4-hour chart here, right? It's starting to reset, but it's turning, right? But the thing is that it's turning slowly, So we may see something like you see literally in March, like February 28 is when it kind of dipped, right, and kind of popped back up. We may see something like that as well. It's starting to turn here, right? So this may be bullish for a little bit, but we don't know if oops, make them bigger. It's easier to see. We don't know if this. Well, 1 second. All right. Okay, we don't know if this will happen here. We're going to see something like this, or we're going to see something like this, right? I'm more inclined to believe that we're going to reset on a bearish pattern here, only because the daily trend is going towards that direction there. Obviously, it could change if we get a big volume support or big volume well, when I say big, I mean a large buy or a large sell here. So we get a large buy, we can support this right here, right? And pop higher. If we get a large sell, then it's going to continue going lower as well. But currently, the daily is trending lower, and a trend has been set for about, like I said before in a previous chart here, about maybe 8 or 9 sticks already. So it's the bearish downtrend is formed. So it's going to continue for some time. How long? It could be maybe a few weeks. So that being said, here is now it's gonna be bearish territory, right? When it popped, short, and then when it hits a previous support, that's where you want to buy your shorts back, to kind of cover it. So with that being said, here is it's not looking too good for the bulls temporarily, but again, I always mention to everyone here, you're investing here and you have a budget, right? And you want to buy throughout time, and throughout time, you don't want to just buy once and assume that it's going to go to the moon or something. I mean, yeah, that'd be great, in hindsight, but the thing is that no one knows the future, right? Unless you're like, Back to the Future, the mad scientist, where you get your DeLorean and go back in time and do what you want. But I don't have that capability here, and I'm pretty sure you don't either. So that being said, here is that for bulls, not looking too good here, but we're still long-term bullish rather than bearish though. And I'm going to extend this out here, this 5-3 here, just kind of, demonstrate something. Let's see. Alrighty then. Oops, there you go. Okay, there you go. So I see this becoming the previous support here. I mean, it can bounce and hang around. It can do it can do something like this as well, right? It can go up here, bounce down, and kind of tap it over and over and over and over. If it does that, that means it's very, I would say, bearish, and that support may break down eventually. Just given the fact that if you're if you're doing if you're tapping a support over and over and over, and the bounces are lower and lower and lower, then that means that people are getting tired of the support here, and you're getting less and less buyers every day, but you're getting more and more sellers every day. So eventually, it's going to break down and move to the next level here. If that happens, we may see 4.8 again, possibly. But again, that isn't too bearish though. I mean, 4.8. But comparatively speaking, this was 0.0002 or some or 0.002, literally like 2 months ago. So is it bearish short term? Yes. Is it bullish long term? I would say bullish long term. And given all the news that came out, obviously, um, it has more bullish towards it the bearish. Um, the news is more bullish and bearish in that sense right there. I honestly haven't seen any bearish news for the most part. So I am honestly a little shocked that we're kind of trading down here. This just tells me that people who bought Dogecoin, they're getting a little bored of it, so they're kind of starting to so they are kind of just selling their positions for the most part. Not everyone is in the Hodl or hold army here. I mean, I'm one of the few who are, but the thing is, if you watch the markets for the most part, as I do, you have tons of short-term traders here where they're kind of doing swing trades, which can last a week or two or even a month or two. You have a bunch of day traders, so trading daily, right? But as you can see with Dogecoin, the volume is kind of drying up. Before it used to be 120, 150, now it's about 75 or 80. This tells me that the day traders aren't here anymore. So we aren't seeing as much volatility because they're all kind of gone. So going somewhere else, maybe doing a Storm X or whatever weird altcoin there is that they're playing with. Because usually in my opinion, the way I see a bunch of cryptocurrencies coming out, to me, there are a lot of pump and dump schemes right here, right? Everyone's like, oh yeah, go buy it. Everyone buys it. It pumps up, and then whoever bought it first, they start selling it as you're buying it. But with Dogecoin, it's a lot bigger, so it's a lot harder to do that. I mean, is it still possible? Sure, but I don't see it as likely though. But the thing is that once Dogecoin reaches a certain equilibrium, and we see on a daily, which can take about 2 or 3 weeks to kind of reset, or even a little longer, depending on how slow the chart moves or how fast it moves. It can be sooner as well. Um, we can see some true movement then. But till then, I keep suggesting to everyone just you know buy with what you can only lose. Don't go all in. Don't use your rent money. Do not use your food money because if you do, you're gonna be in a position where you're gonna be stuck and you're gonna freak out and you're gonna panic sell and then you're gonna give some and then you're gonna give someone like me a really good deal and that's just the way it works. Unfortunately, I mean, these are assets and you're traded, right? Everyone's trading for a profit, whether you're long or short. So that's kind of like the main deal about this right here for the most part. So moving into the 15-minute chart here, we can see that it's starting to look more bullish on a short term here. You can see that it looks like on the MACD here, it wants to reset on the bullish quadrant, but it's looking very indecisive because the line isn't very smooth. It's kind of choppy. So even though it looks bullish on a short term, I don't know. Uh, since it is so choppy and not very smooth, it just tells me that people who are doing it, who bought a dip around 525 last night, around like two, oh sorry, or this morning around 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. Um, which is what I called the previous day that'll be the place to buy the dip from if it were to dip that low. That'll be the range for the most part, and it did. So was it being so choppy? I don't think it's necessarily bullish, even though it looks bullish. I think it's still bearish in my humble opinion here. So that being said here, and we can see here as well on a 15-minute chart, we're seeing some sell signals here, right? Like 1.3 million here. You see this volume stick right here? It's selling off right there. So but you can see also on a short term is that you can see the 50 MA kind of flattening out and looking like it wants to curl up a little bit over. We'll see throughout the day for the most part, and a 200 here. So, but the thing is, they're both trading down though. Even though the 50 MA looks like going to curl up though, but they're both trading down for the most part. They're not necessarily going up. So, this in itself right here is a overall bearish signal here. So yeah, we may see a pop here, but it is not something I would call sustainable or I'm sorry, not sustainable, but a sustained bounce for the most part. So we're gonna see more downside for sure. I'm quite certain of that. I mean, again, with technical analysis, with technical analysis, with technical analysis, it's more of an art than a science here, and you got to put all the information together and from different time frames, and from different time frames, and kind of see where it's going. So to me, the trend is definitely downwards. Is it a strong downwards trend? Not necessarily. It's kind of trending down very slowly but surely for the most part. So that's pretty good as well. If it continues, if this continues, we may see 4.8 or even the possible 3.5s again in the future. But in the future, it could be in the coming weeks, though. But it would, and usually it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me to see another big breakdown before it pops back up as well, because these are the games people play, and that is kind of how it works for the most part. So that's kind of why I always tell folks, don't buy all in, buy a little bit at a time. Take nibbles, not bites. If you take a bite, you may choke on it. If you take nibbles, you won't choke for sure, right? Because you can still swallow it and you can deal with it. And as always, this is why I tell everyone that you must watch these videos daily, because, as I always say, these technical analysis videos here, it's an evolution. It changes daily here. And you watch it, from last week, it's different from today right here, right? So that's why you gotta watch it daily if you care about your investment here. And I do. That's kind of why I create these, and that's kind of why I create these videos, personally speaking. So it's out of my own self interest as well, but I figure I share it with all you guys and the in the Doge family and the Doge community here. So if you watch this far, I would love for you to do me a huge favor and give me a tap that subscribe button and tap that like button so we can share with more people and we get more Doge investors. Okay, I will catch you on the next one.